really devastating, and we would be lucky to find dry wood to make fires with. It would be that desperate.
Andy,
William
William raised a really interesting point in the chat here. William, do you want to go over that point? Because I think that was spot on. William, do we have you?
And it causes...
Oh, I'm sorry. There you go. Okay, yeah, can you start over?
Yeah, I think the Madrid fault goes off during around, from what I understand, it was in April of 2013. And the liquefaction occurred. And this is a compilation from what I've gathered, what I heard when I was taking trips, that what Andrew or the person that I'd be in contact with later would has talked about and was very accurate in what transpired and what occurred in the East Coast. If you remember, they started doing repairs on the White House and on the Capitol. In fact, during around 2006, 2007, they had a whole section of it gone. I had a friend of mine go there and take a picture, and I told him that it would be plywood that would be made to look like marble or whatever. And he brought back the pictures, and he was, sure enough, that's exactly what they were doing, so they were thinking of relocating the Capitol and the White House to Oklahoma, of all places. And that was one of the surviving points. And it had been reported back then, and it was talk on the internet, that that there was a very, very, very slow-moving train taking what looked like slabs of marble and whatnot out towards the Midwest.
Well, that would be another scenario. In other words, what Brett's describing is a seismic event in Missouri, and if there was enough dislodging of the seismic plates there, what I saw could result from the Atlantic shelf collapsing into the ocean. That would be another plausible scenario. But I just raised the point that whenever you're talking about second and third SUMA level probabilities, it's not necessarily advisable to frame your worldview around such predictions, because it's in the nature of such events to be very rare in occurrence. And so I'm simply dissuading people from becoming invested in the idea that there's going to be such a catastrophe, because that also really distorts the nature of quantum access. Quantum access is a viewing of probabilities. I do know that by the time I left the program in 1972, the entire time travel arsenal that the U.S. government was in possession of enabled them to have essentially a predictive ability. For example, who would be president. But what we have to remember is that some of the technologies were not always showing an actual future. Many were showing an actual probability. And so we don't want to distort either the data or the form of quantum access used, because we know that chronovision as a time travel technology was not one of the technologies that was reliable in identifying a specific future that inevitably had to happen. If, on the other hand, they teleported somebody to the future and they were standing in front of the presidential inaugural ceremony and swearing in on a particular year, they were able to literally listen to the name that president gave when he took the oath of office, Barack Hussein Obama last time. So we have to bear in mind that some of these time travel technologies, and some in concert with others, allow the U.S. intelligence community to articulate an inevitable future or the timeline that is going to occur, and others merely allow them to frame a set of probabilities. And it's my position that the chronovisors were taking discrepant slices of the quantum hologram with enough frequency for that particular probe to 2013, not necessarily to have arrived at the 2013 that we're going to experience.
I have been thinking lately, the only thing that at this point that I can think of that would set off the New Madrid fault line and break up the United States like that drastically would be a series of underground explosions caused by the BP oil spill, and a combination of that and these wells. Like in the case of the sinkhole in Louisiana right now. If something like that were to happen, except on a much larger scale and they all blew up at once,